for the word on Wall Street this morning. A look at what's driving markets here at home and abroad. Joining me right now is ER Shares CEO Joel Schulman, Pacers ETF Distributors President Sean O'Hara, and Walser Wealth Management President Rebecca Walser. Rebecca, let's kick it off with you. Investors are keeping a close eye on a potential sale of TikTok to Microsoft this morning. President Trump set a September 15th deadline for the deal. How do you see it, Rebecca? Does this have implications beyond just TikTok and Microsoft?
Absolutely. And I just love that piece that, Maria, that you just did. It's kind of ironic that China is saying a smash and grab when that's what we've been saying for quite a while about their Chinese espionage of U.S. tech and data. But anyways, I want to quickly say, Maria, this is a great opportunity for Microsoft, and I think it's being really underestimated. You know, Microsoft, as you know, has tried many times to get into the social media game or to the consumer data gathering game and hasn't had much success with a lot of their endeavors. And this is a way for them to get 32+ million, 14, lots of users, over 30% now, are only 30% are teenagers. So you've got about 14 or 15 total U.S. users of July, as of July this past month, and a lot of them are adults. And so if you look at Microsoft's opportunity here from a teenage perspective, just to focus on them for 1 second, Maria, what you see is Google and Alphabet has been so successful in getting teenagers to basically use Google Docs and Google Gmail through schools that they're not even using Microsoft products. And this is a great way for Microsoft to get into that space at a very young age.
Yeah, and they've got the complimentary Xbox, so they've got young people there as well. Look, broader market this morning pointed to slight losses at the open. Sean, you say August is typically a volatile month for the markets. Is it the pandemic? Is that what's changed things?
No, I mean, I think that, good morning, Maria. First off, congratulations on your anniversary. What a great accomplishment. Here's to many, many, many more years. So, look,
thank you so much,
this market today just can't be analyzed through the eyes of or lens of history or patterns or conventional wisdom. This market's being driven by one thing and one thing only in the short run, and that is the rate of change in terms of how fast we're going to reopen and whether or not the cases are going up or down with regard to COVID. That's going to be the narrative in the next 30 to 60 days that will drive this market. We'll have Disney later on today that will report. They'll probably report a loss, but they're a great example as a barometer for the market. Their business depends on people feeling comfortable going out and being involved with big groups of people. That's what's going on with the economy, and that's going to drive it. Two more things will come into play. One is potentially a reemergence of the quote unquote China trade issues as we get more aggressive with them on certain issues. And then eventually the presidential election cycle will start to move forward. It's been so non-existent in this whole run up. And eventually the market will have to take a look at that and try to decide whether or not we'll have a change and whether there'll be an increase in taxation or an increase in regulation, or we'll continue with the policies that the current administration has in place, which have been very, very favorable to the market.
Well, you said Microsoft is going to be an important one for the broader markets too, right? It's a barometer.
Yeah, I mean, all of the big tech names are obviously driving this market. You know, they're all sort of tailor-made for what's going on. The part of the big tech names that I don't think gets enough attention today is the cloud piece of it. You know, more and more computing instances are moving to the cloud. There's a big war going on between the big three, Amazon, Google, and Microsoft on the cloud side. And those parts of their business are very, very profitable. The margins are so high. And so looking forward, that's one of the potential areas where Microsoft could be a big winner in this game.
All right. Tech, of course, is on a tear. The NASDAQ closed at yet another record high yesterday as technology stocks soar amid the coronavirus pandemic. Joel, what about that? I mean, Apple, one of the composite's strongest performers, the company surged 5%, now at a market cap of $1.92 trillion, putting it very close to being the first company ever to reach $2 trillion in market value. Joel, where do you see tech going next?
Well, first of all, congrats again on your 25 years. It's an extraordinary accomplishment, and we've all enjoyed watching you these past years. When we think about tech, and we think about the big But when we think about tech and we think about the big four, big five dominating the S&P 500, it's really a tale of two markets. We've had basically the tech up. Amazon's leading the group, the biggest group by 68%. But it's more than just Amazon, Microsoft, and Apple. We've got Twilio, Datadog, CrowdStrike, Cloudflare, and we've got over 25 entrepreneurial companies that average more than 97% year to date. This is a broad-based move. Most of it's being focused on, the big three, the big five, the FANGs, but it's much more than just those guys. Now, when we think about tech, I think there's more room to run, and we've seen, many companies that have suffered in this COVID era, but it's been two markets, right? We've had the healthcare and tech who really dominated in the U.S., and they've really led all markets. But I think eyes now are shifting offshore, and we're seeing, for example, even though most of the non-U.S. markets are down 10 to 15% year to date, a lot of people may not realize that last month, China, Brazil, other markets were up over 10%. And you have other markets in Europe like Germany and Israel and so forth. Sweden, they're up 5%. So the markets are starting to shift a little bit. We've seen funds flows moving in the last few weeks from U.S. large cap to offshore, non-U.S. And so I think tech in the U.S. is going to continue to dominate. We're going to see the cloud companies, dominate, and we're going to see a lot of movement in, I think, the next few weeks to offshore. And I think all eyes are going to be on the election coming up and focusing on, continued growth prior to November.
Yeah, we got a lot of catalysts on the horizon, that's for sure, with the election and the earnings period. Joel Schulman, Sean O'Hara, and Rebecca Walser, great to see you this morning for Word on Wall Street. Thank you so much, everybody. Coming up.